My lawsuit against Fani Willis, Marvin Arrington, and the Fulton County Ethics Board stems from this necessity. Stalking, often misunderstood, involves repeated, unwanted behavior, causing fear or distress. It's a serious issue affecting millions annually, with most victims knowing they're stalkers. The Netflix documentary, Can I Tell You a Secret?, sheds light on this issue. Stalking behaviors include harassment, intimidation, and even violence. Despite its prevalence, misconceptions persist, hindering support for victims. Stalkers exploit various tactics, from relentless calls to spreading rumors. They often target former partners and engage in something called proxy stalking, which involves third parties. Victims endure emotional trauma, and the risk of violence is significant, especially with intimate partner stalkers. The failure to address stalking perpetuates the cycle of abuse, highlighting the importance of legal measures like the Prosecuting Attorney's Qualification Commission.
All right, my friends, J.R. Dukes at your service. Appreciate each and every one of you being with me, especially a special welcome to all my free-minded friends. Guess what? Fani Willis is at it again. I always say Fani Willis is the gift that keeps on giving, and she's not going to disappoint. You were listening to the current representative in Georgia from Atlanta's 56th district. She is a sitting representative in the Georgia State House. All right. Now, this gets very interesting because she has just filed a lawsuit against Fulton County DA Fani Willis and other individuals, including but not limited to the current head of the Fulton County government. In short, there is an individual that used to work for this young lady that you are listening to speak right now, and she hired this guy for about a month. Now, none of the other news agencies are reporting this, but I'm going to tell you all about it. There is an individual by the name of Corwin Monson that worked for her for about a month, and then she ended up firing him. This guy was violent, or at least he acted in such a way that frightened her and scared her. Apparently, he was engaged in some type of behavior that she considers stalking. We're going to listen to it here and let her explain it in detail, but the bottom line is this: DA Fani Willis dropped the ball in relation to this young representative being a victim of crime. This individual that got away with a misdemeanor when it should have been prosecuted as a felony, her allegations are DA Fani Willis essentially did this as a favor to her friend, who's the head of the Fulton County government, by simply giving this Mr. Monson a misdemeanor charge instead of a felony like he should have been charged with. And the funny thing here's the point no one else is telling you, but I'm going to tell you, and that is that this individual, Corwin Monson, is now running against her in the Democratic primary right now as I speak. And in this particular district, folks, whoever wins the Democratic primary will be the representative of this 56th judicial district. So this story is extremely rich with details. It's somewhat complicated, but very interesting, and yet another example of the corruption of DA Fani Willis and her office. Folks, we have talked about this before. Fulton County is known for corruption. We have talked about this repeatedly on my program, and I'm going to restate it again. It's corrupt. It's a corrupt place. It has been corrupt forever. How many years I've ever heard of the name Fulton County, Georgia. Let's get back to the video. Let's listen to this representative as she continues to explain the serious allegations she's making against DA Fani Willis and others.
Abuse, highlighting the importance of legal measures like the Prosecuting Attorney's Qualification Commission, or PAC. It's crucial to support victims and hold accountable those who neglect their duties, ensuring justice for everyone. Stalking is repetitive. Stalkers create a pattern of repeated unwanted attention and contact towards a person. It's an obsession I don't believe they themselves even realize. Their focus is unrelenting towards the victim. A stalker harasses and intimidates a person over and over without ceasing. Examples of stalking are showing up at someone's home or their job uninvited. If Fani Willis investigated my case, she would have spoken to my secretary at the Emory Healthcare who would have shared with her, "My stalker repeatedly came to my job to harass me." Repeatedly calling victims at unreasonable amount of times. It could be up to 50 times a day, but they'll make up excuses or lie as to why they had to call you 50 times. Stalkers will cash app you money unsolicited, and you have to block them from sending you money. Stalkers will repeatedly wait for you at your car and surprise you with the "I was just in the area." Stalkers will also call you from other people's numbers once you block them. Stalkers will leave threatening voicemails on your phone, vacillating between thoughts of undying love and hate if you do not call them back. They'll send you letters to their victim's job in an effort to try to get them fired. They will try to blackmail you. They file motions to appeal their restraining order because they truly believe they are not a stalker. Stalkers get other unknowing and knowing third parties to harass and intimidate you. Proxy stalking. Stalkers will stalk former spouses, friends, sexual partners, or people they sexually assaulted. They spread rumors about their victims, and they do everything they can to belittle and humiliate their victims. Once they realize they can't have you, disgust for their victims sets in, and they try to destroy the person's life. When people repeat rumors they heard from a stalker, they are unknowingly participating in stalking the victim. There are approximately 13.5 million victims of stalking in the United States every year, and I want to give you a few stats. 67% know the person stalking them. They aren't strangers, as most believe. 1 in 3 women and 1 in 6 men are stalked. 16% of transgender people, 9% know their stalker from work. 75% receive unwanted calls. 57% have their stalkers show up unexpectedly. 52% are surveillance. 40% are targeted by intimate partners. They threaten to share intimate images of their victims. 74% of former intimate stalkers report violence. 1 in 5 use weapons to threaten or harm their victims. It increases for intimate partners by 3-fold to make it a fatality. 22% of them will post inappropriate things and personal information of their victims online. Some common misconceptions: they're strangers. They're not. They will eventually stop. If you ignore it, they will stop. Online stalking is not as bad as physical stalking. For those listening, there's a 24/7 National Domestic Violence Hotline, which is 1-800-799-SAFE or 7233. There's also a 24/7 National Sexual Assault Hotline, 1-800-656-HOPE.
Let me give a public service announcement. If you are currently a victim of someone that's stalking you, you don't have to tolerate that. You heard this particular representative boldly and directly tell you, if you're having this type of problem, go ahead and dial the numbers that she gave earlier. If you didn't get the numbers, be sure to rewind this particular video, get the numbers, or folks, please just call 911 and explain to them what kind of problem you're having. They'll have an officer come over and they will get you in the right direction to get the help you need. So please don't tolerate any type of stalking, period. Now, let's talk about exactly what has happened to this particular representative, all right? Her lawsuit alleges, it says, despite legal actions, including obtaining temporary restraining orders pertaining to Monson's behavior, it eventually led to what she describes as aggravated stalking charges. And by the way, I am taking most of this information from Fox 5 Atlanta, one of their online articles dated today. It says the lawsuit alleges that the Commissioner Arrington, who is the Fulton County Commissioner, the guy that is supposed to be the top government official for Fulton County, a close associate of Monson. So you have the head of the Fulton County Commission, essentially a very close friend and associate of Monson, who is the stalker, at least alleged stalker, of this particular representative. This representative says that this particular commissioner wielded undue influence influence with the district attorney's office, circumventing policies and negotiating plea deals, compromising the legal process. Arrington's alleged actions favored Monson, allowing him to plead guilty to misdemeanor instead of felony and conspiring to have the judge removed from the case. So, folks, this is very serious type of charges, serious type of behavior, and obviously it's all illegal. After recording phone calls, and by the way, I have those phone calls. I will be posting and discussing those phone calls in a later video, so make sure you hit the subscribe button so you know when this particular video comes out. It says, after recording phone calls between Arrington and Monson surfaced, Arrington resigned as Monson's attorney December 2020, leaving Willis, DA Fani Willis, responsible for the adjudication of the case. Now, Mainor, this representative, accuses Willis of intentionally dismissing legitimate claims against Monson, showing deference to Arrington. In other words, she's trying to help her buddy Arrington, neglecting to prosecute Monson's probation violations and ignoring Arrington's biased relationship with Superior Court judges. Now, this particular representative, Marion, has filed complaints against Arrington with the State Bar of Georgia and the Fulton County Ethics Board, citing numerous ethics violations. However, the board reportedly dismissed the complaint without holding Arrington accountable. Mainor is seeking justice for the emotional and financial damages caused by the alleged misconduct. And as I said earlier, one fact that is not widely published is her stalker is now running against her for this particular Democratic primary in Atlanta. It's just really crazy and really odd. And my understanding is, according to polls, it's kind of uncertain which way it's going to go. So we have to get the word out, number one, on what DA Fani Willis is alleged to have done or not done in this particular case. And we need to make sure the truth is disseminated in this 56th district race. I always say, keep that mind free, never give up. And until next time, my friends, I am J.R. Dukes.